Hello and welcome. Yeah, it's still hot and humid, but guess it's as good as it's going to get, so I'm going under the hood. And today we're installing the American Brothers design oil catch can. Now you may say, wait, I thought you already installed an oil catch can. And there is a video that has that happening. Feel free to watch it. Stick around, I'll explain. Okay. So what happened? If you saw my original oil catch can install, you will know that its mounting point was this hole right here that I'm pointing to, that hopefully one of the cameras is picking up, which has a wiring harness that just uses that as a place to plug in. It's not plugged into anything, it's just using that as an anchor on its way elsewhere. And you pull that out and you put it in. And that's all well and good, except A, you now have a wiring harness that's like loose, which I'm not a big fan of. Two, if you have an idiot installing the catch can, when I put the mount on, I didn't notice that the wiring harness, part of the wiring harness was under the nut, and I flattened part of the wiring harness, and of course destroying part of the wires, and then the check engine light came on, and then, fortunately Dodge fixed it under warranty. I told them I had no idea how that happened. I'm pretty sure they knew how it happened, but they fixed it under warranty anyway. So, I didn't like the mounting point. Also, if you go back and watch that video, I ordered it from Billet Technology, which has a excellent, in fact, most people say it's the best of the oil catch cans. So I was going to do that, except when I ordered it in black, which is kind of the default, and then I realized I wanted it in white. Well, they won't let you change your order. And then when I went to cancel the order, to reorder it, they said, well, I couldn't cancel my order because it was already in production. It didn't arrive for 2 months. So clearly it wasn't in production. So I was a little pissed at Billet Technology to start with. Then when it finally did come, I managed to ruin my wiring harness, which has since been repaired. So I discovered the American Brothers design oil catch can, which is still in its little shrink wrap thing here. Well, if you'll notice, if I can ever get it out, I think there'll be some fast forwarding right here. There we go. So you'll notice this is going to mount onto this point right here, where, by the way, I now have a wiring harness in the way there. We'll work that out. It's going to go onto that. It's not going to go into that screw. That screw is going to come out. That screw doesn't do anything. In fact, you just need yourself a 15 millimeter wrench, and you can pop this right out. So we take this incredibly long bolt, and this bolt is going to go through there and screw in there. And now all I need is a big hex thing. And then this is going to go on with this 150, not really a tool guy. Here, it looks like that. And it fits right in there and will turn. Notice also that this has this little collar piece, which is going to go, if you look here, it's going to go up under that piece. And keep this from flipping down too far. Although, again, I don't have that problem because I apparently have some kind of wiring harness in the way. By the way, I probably wouldn't have this problem if they hadn't replaced the wiring harness I destroyed. Because apparently they put in one that was a lot heavier duty, so I couldn't. And it's really kind of in the way right here. Okay. Well, this thing's going to be a bitch to take off, but hey. Okay, so that goes on there, and as you can see, the little handle keeps it from going any farther, being pushed any farther down, although it can be lifted up a little. I'll tighten that all up when I'm done. By the way, the other reason I like the American Brothers is for an additional charge, you can get your hoses covered so that they are also white. There. Oh my God. Okay. This is clearly that hose. And then over here, somewhere, here, I have the shorter hose. Which I already got one end on. Oh, yeah. That one was a lot easier. Okay, see, and this one's going to go from there to there. So what we have to do now is pull out this little guy, which we will put away in case I ever want to take this back off. I don't seem to have two of these bushings. Huh. So you turn this. Anyway, so as you can see, this goes on to this bushing. Okay, so a lot of these things don't come with very good instructions. So I went and watched the video that American Brothers Design has on the web, and it turns out that I was supposed to take this off too. The reason I only got one barb was the barb was for here. And what I'm supposed to do is pull this off with, and he said it's going to be hard, and yes it is. Reason I was confused was because, again, the Billet Technologies comes with barbs for both ends. They do not expect you to reuse. There we go. So you take this barb off, we will put that with the hose it came off of. And now we will put this onto here. Like so. Okay. That is not going on there. So, what have I determined? Okay, the American Brothers design does not accommodate, there's no way that this is going over that. It's just not happening, see? Not happening. Yeah. So, I'm going to pull this all back out. I will not be installing this catch can. Oh, by the way, I was going to tell you about, catch cans in general. Yes, they are a good thing. Yes, there is blow by around your pistons. It gets into the crankcase, and then it comes out through the PCV valve here, and it just gets sent back in here with the air, with the excess air. But it's also bringing liquids, uncombusted gasoline and oil, and putting that back in your air intake, which is not the best thing. Now, if you go watch somebody that knows what they're talking about, they will tell you that this is a real problem for direct injection engines, where it's going right back in. But this is fuel injected, but it's not direct injection. So the problems aren't going to be as severe. And considering that I can't put this in, the other one caused problems. Here's my new recommendation. Dr. Wago's recommendation is you don't need a catch can, especially if you're like me. I've only got like 3,000 miles on this car, and that's only because I went to Texas. I do not going to put a lot of miles on this car. So by the time that this oil going back through and recombusting has messed up my intakes, my valves, I'm not going to own the car anymore. So, I mean, if I was going to race it, maybe, but I'm not. This car is just for me. Wait, that's tidy. Let's see. Well, you don't have to watch me take this whole thing back off. So I'm going to call the video on account of failure. Plus it's all jammed in there. Oh, and let me, before I completely, this is another thing I don't like about the American Brothers design. One of the things you need in a catch can is you need something for the oil to condense upon, so it'll stay in the catch can, and so as it comes through out of here, as it goes in here, as it goes across, it needs things to condense on, to drip down, so that only the air gets through. Well, they have put the screen for the oil to condense on, they have stuffed it down in the catch can itself. And if you'll notice, the catch can itself is not very large. I mean, that's my hand. The Billet Technologies catch can, which I just happen to have laying over here, you can see, well, it's not considerably larger. It's somewhat larger. But their material, steel wool, whatever it is in the top part where it will condense and then drip down so that the catch can. So every time, with the American Brothers, every time you empty the catch can, this might pour out. So you're gonna get oil on you. This is much prettier. I gotta give them. For looks, I would go with the. And by the way, this is really what, as I was explaining, it's really not for performance because the amount of performance differential is so small. And by the way, like now it's like no differential. It's only like thousands of miles, tens of thousands of miles later that there'll be a performance differential. So since there's not really a performance differential, I was going to go with the better looking one. And it was easier to mount. But it turns out it's not easier to mount. In fact, it's not really possible to mount. So, yeah, you don't have to watch all this. I'm going to pull all this back out. So this was a terrible video. Here, I'm going to title this one "Why I Didn't Install," so that anybody watching it will know that this does not complete. Or I'll call it an attempted install. I don't know. I'll figure out a way so that people won't be wasting their time going. By the way, if you want to do this, this is going to be your issue right here. How are you going to get this attached to that? Now, with the billet technologies, they come with these. And by the way, I had this installed and it worked fine. It just, I had crushed I don't like the mounting point, and I had crushed battery. And by the way, when they replaced that wiring harness, clearly they put much bigger, heavier, probably bigger to protect it from me. And so it's interfering with, if I had put this one in first, I wouldn't have had the problem with all the wires being in the way. It's because I screwed the wires that they replaced the wiring harness with a much beefier wiring harness. So I give this one a fail. Again, if you know what you're doing, you could if I knew what I was doing, I could probably figure out a way to do this. But for the amount of performance I'm going to get, which is virtually none, and now that I'm looking at it, it's not that pretty. I mean, it's not bad. So come back next week. I got more stuff to do here. I have one more thing, a couple more things under the hood, and there's going to be some badging in either the next video or the one after that. So come back next time. Hopefully things will go a lot better, and I won't be sweating like a pig like I am right now. Okay, have a good one. See you next week.